Now, yesterday, the first report about what it's doing closest to the sun came out. These are instruments that are capable of looking very close to the sun. And it was realized that, in fact, the object is brightening. It becomes very bright right now as it comes close to the sun, and it's turning blue. And the color blue is very surprising because if there is any dust shed off a natural nucleus of a comet, the dust would make it red. And usually the surface of the object is at least an order of magnitude cooler than the surface of the sun. But what the new data indicates is that the object is bluer than the sun. How is that possible?
This morning, we have a report that the object got much brighter than expected, and moreover, the color of the object is blue, bluer than the sun. And that's very surprising because usually when there is dust around an object, it should make it red. I should also say that the news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun, and it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
Tonight isn't about a discovery. It's about a moment, one in which the universe, after billions of years of quiet and countless human nights spent listening with hope and dread, finally spoke. And what it said has rearranged everything we thought we knew. On October 14th, 2024, at 3:47 Universal Time Coordinated, the interstellar object designated 3I/Atlas transmitted a structured radio signal on the 1,420 MHz hydrogen line, a frequency so foundational to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, it's been nicknamed the cosmic water cooler, the channel where civilizations might naturally choose to talk. This was a noise, not interference, not a pulsar's echo. It was a deliberate pattern. Fibonacci-like pulses 8, 13, 8, 51, 38, repeating with unnerving exactness, cycling every 127 seconds, as if the object itself were breathing. Understand what that implies. Natural bodies do not broadcast mathematics. Comets don't murmur numbers into the dark. Ice and rock are obedient to physics and chemistry. They sublimate, fracture, drift. They do not communicate. But 3I/Atlas does. For decades, SETI has listened. For decades, we've asked if we were alone, if intelligence is a rare spark or a common flame, if anyone out there notices us. We built instruments to catch a whisper across light years. We imagined first contact as wonder and kinship. We did not imagine it would feel like being watched. The signal from 3I/Atlas is not an invitation. It isn't hello. It's something colder, recognition. The universe has noticed us. It's taken our measure. And in that acknowledgement lives a terror we are only beginning to name. What kind of mind sends so little? Just numbers, just patterns. Why choose a passing interstellar nomad as the mouthpiece? Is it observing, cataloging, testing our ability to understand? Or is the message merely the visible edge of something larger we haven't grasped? For the first time in our history, the sky is not silent, and we're not sure we're ready for what it's saying. Let's set aside fear and mark the facts. 3I/Atlas, officially C/2024 S1, Atlas, became the third confirmed interstellar visitor to our system when astronomers spotted it in September 2024. After Oumuamua in 2017 and 2I/Borisov in 2019, we thought we had a template. Chunks of ice and rock ejected from distant suns, refugees wandering the Milky Way for ages. At first, 3I/Atlas fit. Its hyperbolic trajectory, about 34 kilometers per second relative to the sun, proved it wasn't bound to us. It came from the dark between the stars. Then the similarities ended. Spectroscopy revealed an odd chemistry, an unusually high carbon dioxide to water ice ratio, roughly 4:1, far beyond known comets. It outgassed cyanide, common enough, but also atomic nickel without the expected iron vapor. In cosmic chemistry, nickel travels with iron, Separating them demands conditions we don't see in nature. Its behavior was stranger still. Brightness variations hinted at rotation, but the pattern refused to settle. Natural tumbling produces predictable light curves. 3. I/Atlas didn't. Its luminosity spiked irregularly, sometimes dimming when it should brighten, as though internal systems were waking, drawing power, redistributing energy. We tried to rationalize asymmetric venting, a fragmented core, a rock with attitude. That became the joke, until the transmission began. Then it stopped being funny. If 3 I/Atlas were only ice and stone, the debris we expected, we'd be curious, even thrilled. But ice doesn't choose the hydrogen line. Rock doesn't breathe numbers. Natural objects don't wake up near a star and decide to speak. Picture a bright speck against the void, accelerating ever so slightly, not only from sunlight's push, but as if making small course corrections, aware of our attention. Telescopes worldwide locked on, their data streams funneling into servers, algorithms sifting petabytes for patterns. Somewhere inside that mesh of lenses and code, a realization took shape. This was not just an object. It was a visitor. The night of October 14th was routine at the European Southern Observatory's facility, until it wasn't. 2 technicians were calibrating solar wind instruments, the kind of meticulous, boring work that requires focus but not imagination. At 3:47 Universal Time Coordinated, a repeating pulse appeared. Interference was the first guess. Cell towers, satellites, even a stray microwave can fake signals. But this was too precise, 1420.40575 MHz. Neutral hydrogen to 6 decimal places, firing in discrete bursts spaced 8, 13, 8, 51, 38 seconds apart. They rebooted gear, ran diagnostics. The pulse held. Confirmation arrived from Arecibo's successor array in Puerto Rico. Then from NASA's Deep Space Network in California. Then from China's 500-meter fast. The signal was real. It was extraterrestrial. And it came from 3 I/Atlas. Control rooms at SETI and NASA went quiet but for keyboard clicks and the low thrum of cooling fans. Scientists aren't chatty in the face of the impossible. They verify. They cross-check. They eliminate. But elimination has limits. When every natural explanation fails, what remains, however implausible, becomes the truth you're stuck with. The pulse repeated every 127 seconds. The intervals 8, 13, 8, 51, 38 caught someone's eye. The first 4 numbers approximated Fibonacci increments. Not exact, but purposeful. Enough to say, this is not noise. This is language. By October 16th, the waveform had leaked to encrypted forums. Amateur radio operators and conspiracy theorists grabbed the raw data. Someone slowed the pulses into audio and played them through speakers. People described a whispering presence, nearly human, nearly comprehensible, an almost voice shaping syllables that never quite resolved. The psychological effect was immediate and unnerving. Chills, insomnia, the sense of being watched. Some said the pattern caught their heartbeat, a feedback loop between the signal and their own biological rhythms. Neurologists called it pareidolia, the brain hallucinating order. The reports kept coming. Researchers who spent hours listening began to describe a sensation that defied words, recognition without understanding, as if the pattern had been tuned to interface with human cognition, close enough to feel meaningful, far enough to stay just out of reach. A JPL engineer told me, "It's like trying to remember a dream. You know it mattered. You know you have to understand it. But as soon as you reach for it, it slips. Except this isn't a dream. It's real, and it's still broadcasting. The signal wasn't just data. It was an experience, and it changed the people who engaged with it. Decoding began at once. Teams at JPL, the SETI Institute, MIT's Haystack Observatory, and labs across the world ran the transmission through neural nets trained on languages, math, even music. They analyzed frequency modulation, amplitude, polarization. They looked for redundancy, error correction, hidden structure. What emerged was beautiful and terrifying. Mapped into 3 dimensions via Fourier transforms, the signal resolved into a spiraling helix, a rotating lattice of light and tone twisting across axes. Elegant, almost organic, like DNA sculpted in mathematics. Within its harmonics, prime numbers surfaced: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, a universal signature of mind. The primes served as markers, punctuation in a larger grammar. Buried deeper, linguists found something extraordinary: 3 phoneme-like elements approximating human syllables. Not exact, but precise enough to trigger recognition in the auditory cortex. Synthesized through speech software, they formed a phrase, or something very much like one. The cycle resets. 3 words, repeating with growing urgency as 3I/Atlas closed on perihelion. Interpretation fractured. Some heard cosmic poetry, a meditation on time, entropy, stellar rebirth. Others heard a countdown, a warning, an announcement that something was ending or beginning, with us caught in the hinge. Governments classified the findings. Public statements talked of unusual natural phenomena pending further study. But truth leaks. The internet filled with amateur decodings. Videos claimed extra phrases. They are coming. Do not answer. Witness. Many were artifacts, human meaning-making and static. Some resisted easy dismissal. I spoke to Dr. Elena Vasquez, a Berkeley linguist who logged 200 hours in the waveform. Her hand shook. "We're trained to be objective," she said, "but this is designed to be felt as much as parsed." The frequency modulation sets up standing waves in tissue. It isn't just sound, it's vibration at a scale that couples with our bodies. When I listen, I feel in my chest, my skull. For a heartbeat, I understand something I cannot say. Then it's gone. She stared at the scrolling waveform. "It's the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced," she whispered. "And it terrifies me." An engineer in Houston told me the helix now visits his dreams, a geometry that waits behind his closed eyes, patient and turning. The message has entered our minds. We have no way to remove it. As the signal captivated, attention returned to the object itself. High-resolution imaging from ground-based telescopes, and Hubble revealed 3I/Atlas in unprecedented detail. About 600 meters across, irregularly ellipsoid, its surface was a patchwork of contradictions, jagged crystalline ice alternating with smooth metallic planes that threw sunlight like mirrors. Erosion doesn't make mirrors. Impacts don't draft geometry. Goldstone radar made it stranger. Those smooth regions were arranged in parallel ridges whose spacing matched the pulse intervals: 8.2, 13.1, 8.3, 51.7, 38.4 meters. The body itself was the antenna. Its structure encoded the message. Isotope analysis of the outgassed material pointed to an age near 4.6 billion years, older than Earth, older than the birth of our system. If correct, 3I/Atlas has been traveling since before our planet congealed, a time capsule cast into the void when Earth was still dust and fire. If it still broadcasts, Dr. Raymond Chin of Caltech noted in a classified briefing, its builders may still be listening. He paused. We should consider that this isn't a relic. It's infrastructure. The implication landed like a stone. 3I/Atlas might not be alone. Culture outran science. Media dubbed it the Atlas Key, as if it unlocked a hidden door. Hashtags trended. Hashtag the key arrives. Hashtag cosmic contact. Hashtag we are not alone. Religions split along familiar lines. Revelation to some, deception to others. Philosophers argued on cable news. Artists built installations from the pulse. Composers transposed the pattern into symphonies that filled halls. But beneath the spectacle, a deeper fear thickened. Not the message itself, but the mind behind it. As 3I/Atlas approached the sun, the transmission evolved. At $0.30, about 45 million kilometers, the signal intensity tripled, not gradually, but in a jump like a threshold crossed. A secondary harmonic appeared, modulated by solar radiation levels. The object was reacting to the environment in real time. Dr. Sarah Kim at the Harvard Smithsonian Center led the analysis. The modulation tracks solar magnetic flux in real time, she said. When a flare erupts, the signal adjusts within 200 milliseconds. That isn't passive reflection. It's active calibration. 200 milliseconds, human reflex time. The symmetry didn't feel accidental. Every adjustment mirrored biology, as if the probe had been engineered with organic consciousness in mind. It isn't just broadcasting, Kim concluded. It's perceiving. Unease coalesced into something sharper. Exposure. We've spent decades pointing instruments outward, trusting distance to keep us hidden. We were observers, protected by the size of the stage. 3. Atlas shattered that illusion. If it can map magnetic flux from tens of millions of kilometers, it can see our radio, our television, our radar. Every human broadcast is a beacon to sensors this sensitive. Discovery used to feel like unveiling. Now it feels like being seen. In control rooms, people unconsciously began to whisper, as if volume itself might draw attention. Keystrokes softened. Footfalls became careful. The shift was subtle but unmistakable, from hunter to watched, from child gazing at the sky to subject under study. The watcher had seen the watchers. We did not know what would follow. Behind closed doors, agencies convened. On October 22nd, the UN Office for Outer Space Affairs hosted a classified briefing with NASA, ESA, Roscosmos, CNSA, ISRO, JAXA, SETI, and military advisors. The question was deceptively simple. Should we respond? The room split. One camp, veteran SETI voices, argued for contact. We've waited 60 years, said Dr. Marcus Webb. Our mission is to find intelligence and begin a dialogue. If we go silent now, we confess we were never ready for the universe we claim to seek. The counterargument was existential. We know nothing about the mind behind this, a defense analyst replied. Intention, capability, location, unknown. Broadcasting could risk the species. In a dark forest, silence is survival. The debate spiraled into game theory and history. Conquistadors were invoked. So was the moral imperative to engage. Then a NOAA analyst presented new data. A sideband frequency had appeared, synchronized to Earth's rotation. 86,400 seconds, exactly 1 day, calibrated to the millisecond and adjusting for our gradual rotational slowdown. The probe had locked onto the third planet's rhythm. Silence. It's already observing us, someone said. This isn't about making contact. Contact already exists. This is about acknowledging it. Even acknowledgement carried risks. A reply would confirm not just our presence, but strategy and technology. It would elevate us from background to participants. The session ended without consensus. Publicly, governments pledged cooperation. Privately, they hardened satellites, drafted protocols for radio silence, moved critical systems offline. Unspoken but understood, we had crossed a line. The universe has rules we do not know, and we had triggered one. On October 28th, the signal changed again. The Fibonacci-like structure fell away. In its place, ascending primes 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, pure mathematics, the universal handshake. Not just proof of mind, but a ladder of complexity. The probe was teaching its language step by step. Patterns, then primes. What next? Culture accelerated. Former rivals shared data. Universities launched new disciplines. Interstellar semiotics, xenolinguistics, contact protocol engineering. Graduate students pivoted en masse to the greatest puzzle in human history. Composers premiered music of another mind, fusing human emotion to alien mathematics. Audiences sat in darkness and let the pattern wash over them, feeling a connection to an otherness made audible.